We're going to be talking about the Bresse chicken, my favorite chicken of all time. Now, this particular bird I got in my hand is around 16 weeks old, and he might look like a big bird to you for just 4 months old, but he's still nowhere near processing day. The reason why is because he's not been able to roam these pastures like most of our meat birds, because we've had an influx in, let's just say other animals coming around, so we keep them cooped up. Problem with that is they don't get to range, they don't get any grass, they just stay on grains, and they never make weight when we do it this way. Also, don't taste as good, and they're not as healthy just staying on grain.
Now, there seems to be a pretty standard number when it comes to this exact chicken on a processing date, and a lot of people try to nail it between 14 to 16 weeks. Now, there seems to be a lot of misconception about this number, especially here on our farm. 14 to 16 weeks is a perfect time to get the most tender, marbled bird with the American Bresse. But it definitely doesn't mean after 16 weeks that these birds are going to be so tough you won't be able to eat them. I'll go ahead and explain right quick before we get into the feed and the schedule chart. You see, at 14 or 16 weeks, the American Bresse is the most marbled, tender, and tasty bird on the entire planet. But there are times where they don't make weight, just like this bird here. So all you have to do is not go in panic mode. Don't throw them into the breeding pen and think the meat's going to be too tough. The only thing that really means with these chickens just means by the time these birds get into the 5.5 or 6 month old range, they'll just be entering around the same texture as the same old Cornish cross you'll get from those big box grocery stores. Now let me go ahead and run you through our feeding schedule, exactly how we do our Bresse chickens, and then we'll show you our chart on the age and the expected weight if you'll follow the schedule. Now, I'll show you a visual first, and then I'll give you exact specifics in a chart at the end of this video. So first, our chicks are given a really soft diet. They're always fed this every time, and then they'll be kept in a coop or the brooder for the first couple of weeks. Then when these guys get transitioned over to a more firm diet and get some GB feathers on them, they're put out in a chicken tractor and moved all across the pasture where they can forage naturally. And they're also fully protected from predators. Now again, these guys, as you can see, are transitioned over to a more firm diet, and they'll stay that way all the way up until 2 weeks before processing day. But for a heritage breed chicken, as you can tell, these guys can hang out here just 4 more weeks after we first put them here, and they're already much bigger. This is crazy for like a 6-week-old chick, and they'll continue to grow at that rate until processing date, which is just a little bit slower. But as you can tell here, at just 11 weeks old, these guys are already looking like they're ready to be processed, but they do need a little more time. Around 4 months old is our key date. We do like to get them into because they are the most tender, but at the same time, if you miss that date or they're just not at weight, it's always best just to give them a few more weeks. You can roll on as much as 6 months, and you can still have some of the best meat that you're ever going to get in a jar or in a freezer. So now let's go ahead and hit that wrote down, grabbed, and scheduled feed. And remember, you're watching the feed schedule for the American Bresse heritage breed meat bird, not no Cornish cross. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So remember, this is a list you can come back and check later or write down, but the first 2 or 3 weeks, chicks are put in a mobile pasture tractor, but they're not actually pastured. They're kept inside, and they're fed a really soft diet. And then after that, they're put out to forage in a tractor. Now, while they're out in the tractor, they're moved all over the place, and they forage on greens, insects. They get 20% protein feed. They get clean water twice a day. They get no scratch, period. Now, this is a diet that we will continue to feed these birds all the way up until we decide when processing day is going to be, just usually by weight alone. Now, once we weigh the bird and have our processing day on hand, we'll go ahead and put them up about 2 weeks before processing day and feed them only corn that's been soaked in whole or raw milk. Yeah, I said the illegal word, raw milk. The corn will soak in that for 24 hours, and then we'll feed it to the birds twice a day, and they'll stay on that. The last 24 hours, only thing they get is water twice a day, and that's going to be it, and it's processing time. I know a lot of you guys are probably already wondering, why in the world do you stop feeding them chicken food or meat bird feed and just give them corn with milk? of all things? Well, soaking the corn in whole raw milk and then feeding it to the chickens enhances the fat content and the marbling inside the meat, which is something other meat birds don't have. This is just something we did with and without, and it's definitely a flavor enhancer, and we're just going to keep doing it. Now, here is our weight chart for male and female, and honestly, I think this is one of the most accurate charts out there because there's just so many unexpected weights with this bird. There's another reason why people say they just don't get the weight as those big Cornish hybrid chickens, and that's because everybody likes to snag these birds around 16 weeks. There just seems to be some myth with it's no good after 16 weeks. But as we roll on, we did 5.5 months, 6 months, and you really can't tell at that point the difference between the two as far as texture goes, but there is a major difference in flavor. You won't want to go back to those old grocery store birds once you do this. But here's your weight chart, and you can see it's okay to go up to 24 weeks, and they will get to the same weight. The males will get about 7, females will get about 5, 5.5. We've even had some to get 6. Yes, that is a female. All right, we appreciate y'all watching. This video is here if you need to come back, copy and paste any of this, take a screenshot of the chart. This is one of the best feeding schedules and most accurate chart that we've actually come by, and it's just the one that I made. All right, y'all, thank you for watching this video. We hope y'all go snag you some breast chickens if you don't got any. Y'all keep on keeping on, and we'll do our best to see you on the next one.